folks, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is based on a question that comes from a viewer named Jess. And Jess asks, how do you decide which direction to move your art in? I have so many different ideas for the direction I want to head in, but I can't narrow it down, and because of that, my body of work is all over the place. I want to pick a path, but I can't seem to stick to anything. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about choosing a direction or an area of focus for your work. So first off, Jess, I totally feel your pain. I've been there, and my guess is a lot of other people have too. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of very simple, very basic points that have been really helpful for me when I'm in a place like that, where I feel overwhelmed and like there are lots of different choices and like I just need to choose a topic or choose a subject to focus on. So the first point is super simple. It's just to choose an idea. And you may have like 20 different areas of focus or subjects that you are interested in, but just pick one of them. So some ways that I have found that are helpful to help make that decision are to choose the subject that makes you the happiest, that seems the most exciting or intriguing at that moment. Or you could choose the subject that is the most challenging, the one that maybe would help you work on some skills that you're wanting to work on, or maybe the one that maybe even makes you a little bit nervous and seems scary at that moment, the one that would require some real bravery to address. Or you could choose the one that is the easiest, the one that seems the most accessible, the one that is the most logical next step from where you already are at that moment. Those are all three ways that have been really helpful for me in choosing a subject or choosing an area to focus on. Some ways that have been kind of counterproductive that I feel like aren't the most helpful for choosing an area of focus are choosing the subject that you feel like everybody else wants you to pick, or choosing a subject because you think it will be popular, or choosing a subject that you feel like you ought to pick because it's the most artistic, or whatever, choosing a subject based purely on kind of duty or ought to. And then choosing a subject that is the one that you can't start on yet because of X, Y, or Z, whether it's that you don't have the skills yet, or you don't have the materials, or your studio is too small, whatever it may be. Choosing a subject that you aren't able to start on immediately is often really counterproductive, and I feel like, at least for me, that's something I've done to myself a lot over the years. So I've just had to learn to do the opposite of that and choose the one that I can start on right away and kind of let things grow from there. So yeah, step number one, choose an idea. And step number two, and this is what has been particularly helpful for me in my own journey, is to choose a set period of time to work on that idea for. So something that I have noticed is that if I'm trying to pick a topic or a subject and I feel like this is going to be something that defines my body of work for the next 10 years or the lifetime of my creative existence, that is really overwhelming, and it makes it impossible for me to make a choice. So I like to cut it down to even like really tiny segments of time, like a week, and deciding, okay, I'm gonna focus on this subject, and I'm gonna focus on it for this period of time. And that really frees me up to not feel so self-conscious and worried about whether the subject I'm picking will be good enough. And then just really try to stick with that subject that you've chosen for that period of time. And once your week or 2 weeks are over, you can step back and take out your journal or your sketchbook and try to ask yourself some questions and evaluate how that has been going, whether you're still interested in that particular topic or subject. Or sometimes something that happens for me quite a bit is that I will have all these other related ideas that have come up as I've been exploring that. So I find it really helpful to take some time to capture that, whether it's in a journal or a sketchbook, visually written, however it works for you, just so that I don't lose those ideas. And then just to ask myself kind of the most basic question, which is, do I still want to keep pursuing this, or are there other areas that I am interested in going into, whether it's, maybe it's a branch off of what I've been working on, or maybe it's a complete gear shift and going in a totally different direction. So yeah, having that subject, the distinct subject that you're going to focus on, and then the set period of time, and then that built-in evaluation at the end. That has been enormously helpful for me. And the third point is basically just to repeat that cycle over and over again. And as you do that, as you keep focusing on a subject and having that period of reflection afterwards, you'll notice that there will be patterns that will start to emerge. So maybe you're interested right now in like 20 or 30 different topics or subjects or whatever. As you actually start exploring those, you'll see that there are some that hold your interest and that feel richer and deeper and more full of life than other ones do. Because it's pretty easy to be interested in something in the abstract, but personally I find that I can't really tell if something is going to feel right and full of life and is going to hold my interest until I'm actually doing it. And something to note, the themes that you find you're drawn to may be really cohesive. Maybe they're all in the same direction and it seems like, wow, there's just this natural distinct pattern to my work and the things that I am passionate about. Or you may find that you have completely opposite interests or kind of 2 or 3 main broad streams that don't seem to have anything to do with one another. And if that happens, that's okay too. You know, right now where you're at, it's a really great exploratory phase, and it's a time that most artists go through. And if you're feeling like you can't pick just one area of focus, that's fine. You know, you can even modify this this approach to have longer and longer set periods of time. So, you know, maybe you have your kind of 2 or 3 main branches that you're interested in, and you know that those are things that will hold your interest, that you've spent some time exploring already. You could say, all right, well, I'm going to work on this one area for 6 months or a year, and then maybe kind of start weaving in some of the other areas. A lot of this stuff isn't something that you can figure out in the abstract beforehand. It just has to happen as you're doing it. So I would say, as long as you are doing that, as long as you are acting and moving and continuing to explore and making art and leaving yourself the open door and the possibility for these things to emerge, then you're in a great place. And it can actually be, I know it can feel like a scary time, but it can actually be a really exciting time on your creative journey when all of these doors are open and lots of possibilities could emerge. So I would encourage you to just do whatever you can to get your feet on the ground and get going, and let whatever is going to happen happen. So I know that was pretty simple, pretty basic, but as I said, these are just the things that have been the kind of principles rather that have been helpful for me when I've been in that uncertain place, or the place where it feels like I'm overwhelmed with choices and decisions. So hopefully you can take something from it, and there'll be bits and pieces that relate for you and that you feel like you can connect with for your artistic journey. And if not, or if you have additional ideas or thoughts of ways that have helped you to kind of narrow your focus and decide on a subject in your art, please leave those in the comments so that other people can see those as well and learn from that. So I think that is about it for this video. As always, thank you very much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I post new videos every week on Fridays. And yes, subscribe, watch. That's it. I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!